Hello everyone, hope you're all well. I wanted to continue on my legend series, and today is actually my 300th video on YouTube. So I wanted it to be someone very special. So I am giving you Ricky Ponting of Australia, who was called a punter by the Australian teammates. He was born 19th December 1974 in Tasmania, Australia, and his full name was Ricky Thomas Ponting. And without any doubt, he's one of the best batsmen of all time, and one of the, if not the best hooker and puller of a cricket ball. Before 80s, 70s, there were a lot of batsmen who were excellent hookers and pullers of the cricket ball. But post 90, I have no doubts that Ricky Ponting was the best hooker and puller of a cricket ball. I mean, he was just impossible to bowl to. You couldn't just bowl short to him. I mean, any bouncer, anything short, he was just he used to go for it. And he used to even play the pull shot of the front foot, which was a very rare thing. I'll come back to it. His career statistics, he played 168 test matches in all for Australia, and he scored 13,378 runs at a very good average of 51.85, and he scored 41 hundreds, and his highest was 257, which came against India in 2003. He also took 196 catches in Test cricket. And in one day cricket, he played 375 matches and he scored 13,704 runs at an average of about 42, and he scored 30 hundreds, and his best score was 164. And he also took 160 catches in one day internationals. And in first class cricket, he scored more than 24,000 runs and he scored 82 hundreds. And another thing, Steve-O and Ricky Ponting, both of them played exactly 168 test matches for Australia, which is a joint record that they hold. And Ricky Ponting, I mean, since he was very young, I mean, uh, he was like a prodigy, and everyone knew that he was going to be a big thing in cricket. And a lot of people might not know this. Actually, it's a question that someone asked me in South Africa when we were playing club cricket. The secretary of the club, chairman of the club, asked me, and he said, "You should know the answer." And he said, "Who's the youngest cricketer to get a bad sponsorship?" And I told him I don't know. I asked him if it's Tendulkar, and he said no. The answer was Ricky Ponting. I mean, Ricky Ponting in 1986. I mean, when he was just 11, 12 years old, there was a Tasmanian junior cricket championship, a week championship, and he scored 400s, four centuries in a week. And after that, the big bat manufacturer Kookaburra gave him a bat sponsorship contract when he was only in eighth grade. So he was around 12 years old. So that is a world record as well, the youngest cricketer ever to have a bat sponsorship. And there's a lot of records in Ricky Ponting's name. I mean, as a captain, one day captain, he has the highest winning percentage as a captain, 67.91. He won 220 matches out of the 324 matches played as captain. So that is a world record in Ricky Ponting's name as a captain. Even test matches, he won 48 out of his 77 matches as captain, and that is statistically one of the best records as well. And he also has another record, which is he's the captain who has the most ICC tournament victories in his name. He won the 2003 World Cup and the 2007 World Cup as a captain, and he also won the 2006 and 2009 Champions Trophy as a captain. So in men's cricket, he holds a record for highest ICC tournament wins as a captain. And there's also another record in Ricky Ponting's name. I mean, he's the only player in the history of cricket who has been a part of 100 Test victories. No other player has been involved in 100 Test victories. And even one day internationals is a record. He's the one who has the most one day international victories as a player, 262. So a lot of amazing records that Ricky Ponting has in his name. and he's also a captain that led Australia to a 5-0 clean whitewash of England in the 2000s. So that's when Shane Warne, McGrath, Langer, had Hayden, they all retired as well. And a lot of credit should go to Ricky Ponting as well. After they all retired, he still maintained that standard of the Australian team. I mean, obviously, huge retirements, Shane Warne, McGrath, Hayden, Langer, but he still kept the captaincy, and he still put Australia on the top of the cricket ratings, which was a very fine achievement, I would say. And he also holds another record. He was the second player ever after Don Bradman to score three double centuries in a calendar year. In 2003 against India, he scored back-to-back double centuries in Adelaide and in Melbourne, where he also scored that his highest score, the 257. And he had also scored a double century against West Indies in that year at the Port of Spain. So he is the only player after Sir Don Bradman to score three double centuries in a calendar year. And Ricky Ponting, I mean, was an amazing player. He was one of the most aggressive players you will ever see, a typical Australian. And he was a counter attacker. I mean, normally when you have two or three wickets fallen, I mean, in the first 10 overs, you find a lot of batsmen who will take their time and like consolidate. But Ricky Ponting would come and straight away start scoring runs. He would play a beautiful few cover drives or a few pull shots, and he was such a counter-attacking batsman. I mean, when you're 2-3 wickets down and a batting team is down, Ricky Ponting could transfer the pressure back onto the bowling team in a space of few overs. I mean, I don't think any cricketer, any batsman in one-day cricket used to do that. Even in Test cricket, I mean, he was such a counter puncher. I've never seen any batsman who used to really do that like Ricky Ponting used to do, to put the pressure back on the bowling side. He was always aggressive, and he used to have that lovely. Well, he used to have a bit of a shuffle, which used to get him into trouble, get him LBW sometimes. But he always used to come onto the front foot, and he used to really drive the ball well. And like I said, I mean, even off the front foot, he used to pull and hook like no one I've seen in the 90s, post 90s. And once there was a funny incident where Sean Pollock bowled a ball and beat Ricky Ponting with his first ball, and Sean Pollock not joked, he said the ball is pink in color. And the very next ball, Sean Pollock bowled another bouncer, and Ricky Ponting hooked it out of the ground. And Ricky Ponting told Sean Pollock the ball is still pink in color. But that is how Ricky Ponting was. I mean, he didn't take any nonsense. He was totally serious on the cricket field, and I mean, he was an absolute competitor. I mean, Graham Smith, the South African captain, once described Ricky Ponting as the biggest, toughest competitor that he has ever played against. And even Alan Border once said about Ricky Ponting that he had in abundance determination, courage, and skill. And there is no doubt about that. He had all of that. He was absolutely talented batsman, and a lot of courage as well and determination. I mean, he had everything in him. And even Sir Vivian Richards once said that he enjoyed watching Ricky Ponting a bit more than Sachin Tendulkar. And I have to say, obviously, I like Tendulkar, I like all of them. But in the 90s, 2000s, if I was given a one-day match, especially where, let's say if it was a World Cup finals where you had to chase a 320, 330, and you have lost a wicket or two, and if I had to choose one batsman to go and win the match for you, I would definitely, without any thoughts, would definitely choose Ricky Ponting, because he was just one of those batsmen who could just take the match away. He would bat regardless of what the team situation or the pitch or whatever it was. He was just always aggressive and played proper shots, obviously, but he always got on top of the bowling, and he just knew how to put pressure back on the bowlers. I mean, he's one of his most famous knocks. Indians will never forget that in 2003 World Cup finals against India at Wanderers, Australia piled on 359 for two, and it was a world record score in the finals of a World Cup, and India lost by 125 runs in that match as well. And Ricky Ponting was 140 not out. I mean, he murdered the Indian bowling that day, and together with Damien Martin, I mean, they just piled up the runs, and I mean, India were just they battered India out of the match big time that day. And Ricky Ponting, I mean, he was an excellent fielder. By the way, he was an amazing fielder. He was an excellent slip fielder. He used to slip at the cover point everywhere. I mean, John T. Rose obviously we all regard him as the greatest fielder, but There's one thing that I should say about Ricky Ponting is that Ricky Ponting could field at different positions. I mean, John Rons normally used to take that backward point position, but Ricky Ponting could field at slip. He could field at backward point. He could field at cover, mid wicket, even at the boundary. Everywhere he was the best all-round fielder that I have seen in my life is Ricky Ponting, and he was extremely accurate throwing at the stumps as well. I mean, John Rose used to hit the stumps a lot, but I mean, there was a point when Ricky Ponting was more accurate than John Rose. I mean, every time I mean, like 8, 9 out of 10 times when he threw the stumps, he used to hit the stumps. So he used to get a lot of run-outs for Australia as well. So he was an amazing fielder as well. Ricky Ponting, a lot of things to say about him. And by the way, he was once named as the cricketer of the decade 2000 by Wisden. So that is an amazing achievement as well. The 2000, I mean, the 2000 period, the 2000s, he was the decade 2000, he was named as the cricketer of the decade 2000. That is another achievement for Ricky Ponting. And like I said, many records in his name. I mean, he was an absolutely beautiful batsman to watch. He's a very aggressive player, and I've seen many incidents where if bowlers even look at him or stare at him, he would say something back. He always loved to dominate, and he was always in control of his game. Well, he has had a bit of a trouble against spinners sometimes because of his the way he used to push at the ball sometimes, and he used to get caught at bad pad and silly point a lot. But still, he used to go on the back foot, and really used to use his feet very well as well against spinners, and he could go over the top and. He was a complete batsman. I mean, a 4100s. I mean, that's a lot. And he is obviously Australia's leading run scorer in Test matches and one-day matches. And he was the captain of Australia for many years after Steve O in one-day internationals and Test matches, and won so many matches. Like I mentioned, he's the only player in the history of cricket to have been involved in 100 Test victories and also 262 one-day victories, which is also a world record. So a lot of records in his name. And like I said, getting a bat sponsorship when he was 12 years old, when he was in eighth grade as well, and also being the captain, the highest number of ICC tournaments won as a captain record is also under Ricky Ponting, and also the highest winning percentage as a one-day captain, 67.91, 220 one-day victories out of 324 matches. Stunning, and even test matches 48 out of 77. So Ricky Ponting, I'm happy to give you Ricky Ponting. I mean, a lot of people, I mean, it's almost like you miss cricket when you think about Ricky Ponting and such players in the 90s. I mean, cricket was so beautiful in those days, a lot of great characters, and Ricky Ponting was definitely a colorful character and such a big person as well. And he was very friendly to Shane Warne as well. And it was sad to see him crying when Shane Warne died in an interview. He cried, and you don't normally see Ricky Ponting crying, but he was so close to Shane Warne, and he was showing his emotions. Yeah, and he was one of the greatest commentators you'll ever see. I mean, and obviously, not just being a competitor, obviously, he had the skill to match with it as well. I mean, ever since he was young, I did mention he was a prodigy, and everyone knew that he was going to do great things in cricket, and he didn't disappoint anyone. He was someone who was, any team, I mean, if you have Ricky Ponting to bat, still bad, there is no team who would sit and think that they are still having a big hold in the match. I mean, if Ricky Ponting was still there to bat, you always knew he could take the match away from you. I mean, he was just just a counter-attacking batsman. The way he used to come and just blow you away. I mean, because I'm just repeating, but I have to say it. I mean, a lot of batsmen, 2-3 wickets fall. I mean, they will probably just play down, and the bowlers will be on the top. But when Ricky Ponting came, nothing mattered. When 2-3 wickets fell, the bowling was good or the pitch was good. It didn't matter. He would just come and sorry, bada means it's like in my language, bang bang. He would go for like 2, 3, 4 runs for boundaries through the offside or a pull shot, and he would just transfer that pressure back onto the bowlers, and that was Ricky Ponting. I mean, one of the greatest players of all time, and an absolute Australian legend as well. I mean, he's still involved with this Delhi Capital teams in the IPL, and he's been coaching a lot, and obviously even He did play for the Mumbai Indians as well in the IPL once. So that is my video on Ricky Ponting, one of the greatest batsmen of all time. Definitely one of the greatest ever hooker and puller of a cricket ball, and an amazing captain who has, statistically speaking, is the best captain and who has seen 100 Test victories and 262 one-day victories. That is my video on Ricky Ponting. I hope you have enjoyed it. I'm sure a lot of people have great memories of Ricky Ponting. Take care. Thank you, and God bless you.